let's start at the beginning, Jude, how this came your way. And you're not just the actor, like I said, you're a producer on it. So how did it find you?
So I was working with Zach Balin, the writer, and Kate Sussman, the writer and creators, on The Order, which we made a couple of years ago. And it was pretty clear things were going well. we got on very well. And, you know, that's really important to me, actually. It was already a relationship that I thought, you know, well, this is creative and it's collaborative and they're warm, interesting folks, and I hope we do something else. They presented the idea, and really it was my producing partner, Ben Jackson, who you just met backstage, who read it and really saw the potential. And also, he's very good at this. He sort of thought, this is a really good part for you. You haven't sort of done something like this. And, you know, honestly, initially, I love producing because it's not about, oh, I'm going to be that role and I want to. It's about, this is a great piece. How do we realize this? How do we bring this to life? And it's really about empowering and nurturing someone else's vision, because really it's just an idea, you know, and you want to turn it into something. And then eventually it became apparent that maybe I should step up and play one of the brothers. We had the idea and love on the back of our love for Ozark and the sort of tone of Ozark. We thought Jason would be a great fit, and he proved that we weren't mad and liked the idea as well. And then it was after the first meeting, I think, when he was sort of pitching what he thought he would do as a director, that I think it was me. I can't remember, so I can't take full credit, but I think it was me that thought he should be the brother. Like, he would be brilliant. And he has this magic power, I think, as an actor, where you kind of forgive him, you love him, even if he does awful things. And we sort of knew with Vince, I mean, this is nothing. You wait, Vince does awful things.
Just wait.
And so I don't want you to, obviously a lot of the piece is about forgiving. Why do we forgive people that are, you know, our loved ones, or how far do they go?
Right.
And he just seemed like, therefore, a great fit.
Was it always Jake? Did you ever? Because I actually had the thought watching the series. I'm like, I would rewatch it from the beginning with you guys flipped.
That's season 2.
I would love
I'm
that.
joking.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Though?
We thought that'd be quite a good idea. Do the whole thing
like
again,
True
just
West
switch parts.
Style.
Yeah.
I could see.
Like True West.
Absolutely, because I really think you guys each of you could go.
It would
in the
be
other
interesting,
direction.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
But what was it about Jake that appealed to you to play, besides it being different than?
I think it was that. I don't know that I ever really considered Vince anyway. I think it was because, this is going to sound odd, because of my role as producer, I thought that there was an interesting parallel between the responsibilities that Jake was carrying and the responsibilities of being a producer. And I sort of thought, oh yeah, the DNA of the part and the role I'm playing behind the camera are kind of, they meet here. And there was something about trying to find or peel back this perfect veneer. I love that he presents himself as a real sort of success, and I got this down kind of guy, and then you realize, like a swan, his feet are going crazy
White
underneath.
Neckling. Yeah, for sure. But it's a fascinating character because you're not only just watching a person having to pretend to be more confident than he's actually feeling, you're doing all the work underneath it as well. And
he's also, therefore, to me, sort of symbolic of the whole nightclub and what we were trying to capture and what inspired Zach and Kate. They'd lived here for many, many years, sort of late 90s into the early noughties or millennium. What do we call that period? The noughties.
The good times.
The good times,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
But they wanted, that was very much their inspiration, but a lot of those establishments, which were seen as being so glamorous and so the hotspot, had all these dark things going on. There were arrests, there were suicides, there were bankruptcies eventually. And, you know, that in a way is embodied in Jake.
Yeah. No, it's true. I'm curious how you and Jason, did you know each other at all before this? Because you really, and I'm sure you guys can see this, they are very believably, you feel this weird history and this familial bond between the two of you. How, and like, you know, I don't want to blow anyone's mind, but Jude is not American, and Jason is, but like, you guys managed to really seem like brothers,
Good.
and I'm wondering how you went about sort of developing that bond so that it would feel like that on
Well,
screen.
we didn't actually meet face to face until we were about 2 weeks out of from shooting. But we've been Zooming and talking and writing to each other a lot because we were overseeing and involved in the development of the scripts. And again, I can't emphasize enough how collaborative, inclusive Zach and Kate are. They're brilliant writers, and they really wanted us to lead them and guide them with these roles and with details in these roles. And I guess looking back, that was in many ways our rehearsal.
Yeah.
We were bonding and swapping ideas, creating pasts as we wrote. And so when we met, it was more a case of sort of, how do you work? Do you like working like this? Do you work like that? And we understood the area of play very quickly and just honestly got on. I think also we knew the world very well, so we could play, and we both like sort of finding the elbow room in which you can play with a script. But here's a sort of funny insight though. So my preparation is completely different. He reads and then he kind of likes turning up and just seeing what happens. Whereas I do all this massive prep and I write all these like notes on backstory and childhood dreams and fantasies, and I want to know and I go visit the street we were born on, and because to me that just gives a sort of authenticity. And I offered all this to Jason. And he just went, "No, I don't need all that, mate." Not interested.
That's what happens when you've been acting since you were 10, though.
Yeah.
I think probably.
Yeah.
You know. And since it's a room full of actors, I'm just curious. Your New York accent is very, very good. Did you right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I say that's a huge compliment.
And we don't just give that away.
Good.
As New Yorkers.
It's nerve-wracking.
I'm sure.
I'm never the person to ask about. It's always the folk from the city or the folk that they get the vote.
Did you listen to somebody specifically to get the like regional?
All sorts of people.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as I'm sure a lot of you know, the dialect coach are the wizards or wizards and witches of this skill. So it's, you know, you just work very hard with them. Yeah, my process is usually to be really specific. Like, you can't just sort of go, "Oh, he's just from New York," because as you all know, like, you know, okay, well, but what did his mum sound like? Right. What did his dad sound like? What was he watching on TV in the 80s, or if that's the right era? What does he want to sound like? Right. You know? And then there was an extra bow to this one, which was I had to also kind of match Jason, because Jason doesn't have a New York accent, but was meant to be my brother. So I kind of wanted to also lean out of it. I didn't want to go whole hog. So there were all these sort of considerations.
Yeah. No, but you guys do match.
Good.
So it works out great. What is it like to be, so now you're a producer. He was directing the episode you guys just saw in the next episode. What's it like to be a scene partner with the person who is also directing you? Like, is he giving you notes? Like,
first time I've done it.
Yeah.
And was it? Yeah, first time I've done it. And he made it so seamless. He made it so kind of effortless. It's hard to sort of, to really answer that with any insight other than, you know, he set the scene very, very confidently, calmly. Everyone kind of knew what they were doing. But like I said, there was also a certain amount of looseness in that, you know, as you probably saw, he wanted the cameras to be able to roam and kind of come in and out and choreograph with us or dance with us. And then he was just on as Vince and able to turn that off and walk away and kind of look, you know, re-watch and look. Or he just really, which I love, knew when we had it and didn't go look at all, because he was sort of there with me, you know. He made it seem so easy. And he's also one of those, he insists on, well, Laura Linney, who he worked with on Ozark, and he also encouraged to direct, and in fact she directs 3 and 4. He really goes after you. He was out on me to direct.
Really?
He really pitches actors.
It's because he loves it so much. I
he
think
loves
he wants
it so
everyone
much.
to feel it, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the people who are the other directors for the rest?
Yeah, so Laura Linney directs 3 and 4. and Ben Semenoff, who is another director from Ozark, directs 5 and 6, and then Justin Cazell, who directed me in The Order and was a part of that process with Zach. He directs 7 and 8. 7 and 8 take off.
Guys, you'll see. I'm going to spoil one tiny thing that happens in episode 2. And when that is, we get a flashback of the band, the Black Rabbits.
Yes.
And we have our front man here. It looked like were you wearing leather pants? It was hard to tell.
No.
He's got long hair. He's singing.
Not leather pants. No. I think they were like ripped up 501s, that kind of vibe.
They had a good rock star vibe.
Jason wanted to shoot it, Super 16 and the kind of, $200 video that they would have shot in that period. And I got very excited at this whole thing. And we'd recorded the song. Albert Hammond Jr. from The Strokes wrote the songs for the Black Rabbit. So we recorded them. And then I don't know where and why no one told me I didn't look 22, but I put this wig on and I was really in it. And then I watched the footage back and I said, oh, I look like a 52-year-old pretending to be a 22-year-old. So they really, they really messed with the exposure and everything. And through this fog of static, you kind of think, oh yeah, there he is.
No, I was like all in. I'm like, I would have definitely gone and seen these guys in 2004, whenever it was supposed to be. I loved it, yeah. But is it nerve-wracking singing on top of acting?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It's really exposing.
Yeah.
Like even if you think you're half decent, I can hold a tune. When you're in the booth and you just sing and then you go out and listen to it, it's cruel.
Yeah.
It's really unforgiving.
It's not like karaoke late at night. It's a very different thing.
No.
Yeah.
And learning tricks like recording and then over-recording and over-recording to give yourself a bit of width, depth it was key. But Albert luckily held my hand and showed
the
me
music
the way.
in general is so good. And I was telling Jude and Ben backstage, the look of the Black Rabbit itself, I'm like, why can't I go there? I want that burger.
Yeah.
I also would like a Negroni. Like, what are we doing? And it's sad, but since you were a part of it, just how you guys came up with the look of it and how you decided how it was going to look and where it was going to be in the city.
I keep coming back to Zach and Kate. They were really clear and caught us all, or brought us all really into this world with such visual clarity, oral clarity, and obviously this wonderful story. But, that really fed everything. And obviously we had an amazing design team, an amazing locations team who found all those spots and, designed and built the rabbit in Water Street. That was our exterior. It actually exists. It's still there, painted red with it in it. I really miss it. Because like you, we would finish shooting and we all wanted to stay and have a drink, and then we were like, oh no, it's not a real bar. You got to go. It felt like one, and shooting we built it on 2 floors over at Steiner, and when it was full of sort of 400 people all eating dinner and the bar staff, and we shot it in ways that we could roam through the whole thing in the kitchens where they were all cooking, and it was amazing. It came alive. And that detail, you have great teams who just, the smallest references feed their imagination. But like you rightly said, I went to those places. We know those places, and you just have to go deep on detail.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else about their references with the music, and I know they did this extraordinary thing where they looked at the map of New York and sort of thought, okay, so Anna, where does Anna live? I bet Anna lives in the Lower East Side, and this character will live there. So it means that any trip. Like, oh no, that's an hour. If it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're not getting from there to there for anything under an hour, or what subway would they take? They really mapped it out, and it's that kind of detail. I think you feel it.
Absolutely. And I wanted to bring up New York as another main star of this show because I also said this is thank God this wasn't Toronto that I was looking at when you see them on the streets of New York, because we're New Yorkers. It's really important to see the city as we know it. And as much as I love that, I am also sure that filming on the streets of New York brings about its own set of challenges. So how was that?
It does, but to me, what you're getting back is a much greater reward than maybe the efforts or the time loss or whatever it might be, the struggles, because you point your camera anywhere, and the energy you pick up on, and the vibrancy, and also just, to put it crudely, the bang for your buck, because the depth of field and detail that you're getting way down there, which you have nothing to do with, is extraordinary. And it was that energy, that authentic sort of zing of life, beautiful and ugly, that we wanted to sort of tell a story about. And that was a huge inspiration. And in many ways, I know it's an odd love story, but a love letter, but it is a kind of love letter to the city, because it's a complicated place. It's what makes it fantastic. It's what makes it exciting to be here and live here. And we wanted the city to show that aspect, and we also wanted to show that in minutiae within an establishment that sort of shows that as well.
And it also shows, for those, I'm sure a lot of people in this room have worked in restaurants. I don't know if you ever.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the restaurant business is a very good setting for a drama, I would say, for a lot of reasons, yes.
And in many ways, what we also clued into is it's sort of like a theatre in many ways, a performance. Like you go on every night, and you have to leave last night's performance behind. And there's backstage crew, there's front of house, the audience arrives, and like theatres, when you turn off on the lights at the end, they're always a bit like sad and a bit it's just a black box, or you know what I mean. I think the floors are stickier in restaurants, hopefully, but. In many ways, that magic of putting on the lights and putting on a show is why they become wonderful places to. Also, the different people you get working there. You get really interesting folk who kind of want to remain. Either they want to just disappear at night, or they want, they want to be able to drop everything and leave. Some see it as a bridge to something else.
Some people think it's their entire life.
Some people absolutely give their whole life to it.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. And this is a good time to bring up some of the other people who co-star in it. You guys haven't, he has not shown up yet, right? Not until episode 2, Troy Kotsur. From Coda, the Oscar winner, is so good and so scary. You will be meeting him.
He's the moneylender that we're all scared of, and you'll meet him. So his son is the mouthy, crazy kid who we keep calling Junior, and you'll go and meet him, and he's in the... He works underneath the Turkish bars in the Lower East Side. And what was extraordinary was he actually approached Zach and said, no one ever thinks of me as a bad guy. I'd love to play a villain. Write me a villain. And this stillness, but also that you have to, if you don't do ASL, you have to sort of communicate through someone else, and you never quite know what he's saying. And he developed, as I did an accent, he developed a way of signing with just one hand. So he just does these little tiny moves, and you'll see it's really, really wonderful performance.
It's really, really scary. Like, I think I'd be scared if I saw him on the street tomorrow.
Yeah.
And at the end of all of this, really, this is a story to me about brothers.
Yes.
And a story about family. And you don't have a brother, but you have a sister, as Jason does. And so I'm just sort of curious, like, how did you guys decide what this sort of push and pull that you were talking about earlier? Because, if anybody has a sibling, it's a complicated relationship.
Yeah.
And there's so much you worked on. It sounds like your character's backstory. What was sort of your thinking about, what was the initial, divide between Jake and Vince?
Well, there's a trauma that bonds them that I won't tell you about. It's not revealed till the very end. And it demands a sort of loyalty. It's a kind of misunderstanding as well. And it's, I hope, resolution to the question, how far will Jake go to forgive him? How can this guy keep burning down everything and keep ruining or bringing trouble to his door before he stops? And you understand why when we reveal what that trauma is. And I mean, honestly, so much of their dynamic was on the page, but then I guess there's also, I'm trying to decipher kind of what Jason and I brought out of the characters and together as a partnership that wasn't necessarily on the page, and that therefore revealed itself about the brothers. I suppose what I wanted to capture was this, those guys you'd see and they'll be they make each other laugh, and then suddenly it goes too far and they're actually fighting on the floor. And you're kind of like, well, should we leave the room? Like, what do we do? And it's also like this odd language they have that you can picture them owning when they were kids, like really little kids. I think that's something we can all relate to, because even though my older sibling is a sister, you know, our shared knowledge of each other, even that physicality when you're little enough to fight or wrestle, or and then also the intimacy and the love of it is a beautiful bond. But again, it's a great area for storytelling. It's a great area for character study. And like you and I said in the slowest elevator in New York, we were just coming down in, it really was, wasn't it?
It is.
And that it's been the subject matter, you know, since the Bible, since the Greeks.
But I think it's because
Shakespeare.
it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I have a sister. No one can push my buttons better than my sister. Because,
Right, but you're probably more loyal to her. The
I
other
would
thing
do
is,
anything
someone
for her,
said a great thing when we were sort of dissecting this, and they were like, "It's so clever because if they were buddies,
Yeah.
it'll be over."
Right.
You know, that it's with a brother you can't ever really, even if you say we haven't spoken in a few years, somewhere that's in you, right? It's your brother
Yeah.
or your sister or your parents.
All right, we're going to have to wrap this up in just a minute, but without giving anything too much away, tell them what they have to look forward to over the next 7 episodes.
It gets more and more tense. And
I know, they're laughing because you think it can't, but just you wait. I'm telling you guys. Yeah.
I think it's not a love story. Although in a way it is. In a way it is. And I say that because I find it deeply moving, the real love these two have. And even though they're kind of both sort of losers, I think this devotion and the purity of this bond is really actually quite a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is. And you guys are going to love the rest of it. And I am so grateful that I was just telling Jude to have this as a nice distraction from the world as we know it. It's great to have wonderful entertainment to keep us company. And thank you so much for it.
That's my pleasure.